loading it up and then dumping it into dump trucks here. But every minute that goes by is critical, and they clearly think that they have that they are on to something there, because every few minutes they ask for silence, and then they begin digging again, and then it's silence and then digging again. Hope is silence in Mexico today. Wolf.
Dozens of buildings in central Mexico collapsed. At least 225 people have been killed in the 7.1 magnitude earthquake. And as where you are, 21 elementary school students found in the rubble of a collapsed building. But as you've been pointing out, there's hope that maybe one young little girl is still alive, and that's what they're searching for so desperately. We're going to get back to you and update us, hopefully, with some good news. Miguel Marquez is on the scene for us in Mexico City. I want to bring in Chad Myers, our meteorologist. Chad, it's pretty extraordinary. 2 earthquakes, an 8.0 magnitude earthquake a couple of weeks ago, and now this point, 7.1 earthquake. Pretty close together for huge earthquakes like this, right?
Yes, but likely not on the same fault line and not from the same real reason. One being a slip strike fault, the other being a subduction fault. Here's Mexico City right here. Here's the earthquake here.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I want to get right back to you. But President Trump is speaking at the United Nations right now. Just want to hear what he's saying.
Nigeria, Senegal, Uganda, and South Africa. In particular, I want to thank President Conde, who is representing the African Union. Thank you. Thank you. In this room, I see partners for promoting prosperity and peace on a range of economic, humanitarian, and security issues. We hope to extend our economic partnerships with countries who are committed to self-reliance and to fostering opportunities for job creation in both Africa and the United States. Africa has tremendous business potential. I have so many friends going to your countries trying to get rich. I congratulate you. They're spending a lot of money. But it has a tremendous business potential and representing huge amounts of different markets. And for American firms, it's really become a place that they have to go, that they want to go. 6 of the world's 10 fastest growing economies are in Africa. Increasing American trade and investment across diverse industries, including agriculture, energy, transportation, healthcare, travel, and tourism, will further transform lives throughout the continent. Secretary Tillerson and the U.S. Millennium Challenge Corporation are already considering an investment worth hundreds of millions of dollars in Côte d'Ivoire, which has made impressive economic reforms, really done a tremendous job. We also hope that African firms like the company Sasol consider making investments in the United States. Sasol, as an example, is building a $9 billion petrochemical plant in Louisiana, which will bring new jobs to the state, and really hardworking Americans will be manning those jobs. But we cannot have prosperity if we're not healthy. We will continue our partnership on critical health initiatives. Uganda has made incredible strides in the battle against HIV/AIDS. In Guinea and Nigeria, you fought a horrifying Ebola outbreak. Nambia's health system is increasingly self-sufficient. My Secretary of Health and Human Services will be traveling to Africa to promote our global health security agenda. Yet we know that our prosperity depends, above all, on peace. The United States will partner with the countries and organizations like the African Union that lead successful efforts to end violence, to prevent the spread of terrorism, and to respond to humanitarian crises. I commend your troops currently serving in the field. Very brave, very, very brave what they're going through. As you well know, too many people are suffering from conflict in Africa. in the Central African Republic, the Congo, Libya, Mali, Somalia, and South Sudan, among others. They're going through some very, very tough and very dangerous times. Terrorist groups such as ISIS, Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram, and Al-Qaeda also threaten African peace. The United States is proud to work with you to eradicate terrorist safe havens, to cut off their finances, and to discredit their depraved ideology. And a number of you have told me, actually last night, that we've been doing a very good job over the last 6 or 7 months in particular. We're closely monitoring and deeply disturbed by the ongoing violence in South Sudan and in the Congo. Millions of lives are at risk, and we continue to provide humanitarian assistance. But real results in halting this catastrophe will require an African-led peace process and the sincere, really sincere commitment of all parties involved. And I know you're working on that, and you're working on that very hard. To assist in these efforts, I'm sending Ambassador Nikki Haley to Africa to discuss avenues of conflict and resolution, and most importantly, prevention. Lastly, I want to discuss our partnership against a global challenge. Today, the world faces an enormous security threat from North Korean regime. We must all stand together and be accountable in implementing United Nations sanctions and resolutions in response to North Korea's hostile and menacing actions. We believe that a free, independent, and democratic nation, in all cases, is the best vehicle for human happiness and success. Thank you for joining me for this critical discussion of the challenges and the opportunities facing our nations. Africa, I have to say, is a continent of tremendous, tremendous potential. The outlook is bright. I look forward to hearing from you and your advice during the meal. I thought rather than just eating, we'll have long discussions, and I look forward to that very much. But I also look forward to getting to know so many of you, and so many of you I do know. And it's an honor. It's an honor. And I really want to congratulate you. Growing very fast, economically and in every other way. You've done a terrific job. You've had some tremendous obstacles placed in your path, but you have done really an absolutely incredible job. So I want to thank you, and I look forward to our discussion. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
President Trump speaking at a luncheon with African leaders at the United Nations. This is the week of the UN General Assembly, so he's making the rounds. You see his Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, are right there next to him. They're continuing their diplomacy. We're following two major natural disasters very, very closely right now. The earthquake in Mexico City, and outside of Mexico City. This is a school where we've been having extensive coverage. Lots of children already found dead, but there is hope that one young girl may still be alive at this elementary school, and they are working desperately to rescue this young girl. Our own Miguel Marquez is on the scene. We'll go back there live shortly and get an update. We're also following Hurricane Maria that is now pummeling. It's pummeling as we speak. Puerto Rico will go there live as well, a Category 4 storm. This is a monster that's hitting Puerto Rico. Much more of our special coverage right after this.
What powers the digital world? Communication. That's why a cutting-edge university counts on CenturyLink to keep their global campus connected. And why a pro football team chose us to deliver fiber-enabled broadband to more than 65,000 fans. And why a leading car brand counts on us to keep their dealer networks streamlined and nimble. Businesses count on communication, and communication counts on CenturyLink. CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
We wanted to sell our home and at the best price, and we needed a real estate agent who could get that done. We're so glad we found HomeLight. HomeLight ranks over 1 million agents based on their actual track record. They crunch the numbers to figure out who is best in your neighborhood, who can sell your home for the most money. HomeLight matched us with Alex. He sold our home in only 2 days for $40,000 over asking. When it's time to sell, the place to go is HomeLight.com.
When you schedule with SafeLight Auto Glass, you get time for more life. This family wanted to keep the game going.
Hey, Mom, one more game?
With SafeLight, you get a text when we're on our way. You can see exactly when we'll arrive.
Sure. Bring it. Get him. Bye. Safe repairs. This is
Fit for all. Fit skin tone and blurs control shine. Our most diverse shades ever. Maybelline's Fit Me Matte and Poreless. Make it happen. Maybelline, New York.
Hi, I'm Jesse. And I'm Ben. We started Hubble because contact lenses are too expensive. At Hubble, our fresh daily contacts are affordable and delivered straight to you. Get your first 2 weeks free at HubbleContacts.com.
There's nothing more important than your health. So if you're on Medicare, or will be soon, you may want more than Parts A and B. Here's why. Medicare only covers about 80% of your Part B medical expenses. The rest is up to you. You might want to consider an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Like any Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, these help pick up some of what Medicare doesn't pay. And these plans let you choose any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. You could stay with a doctor or specialist you trust, or go with someone new. You're not stuck in a network, because there aren't any. So don't wait. Call now to request your free decision guide.
Following breaking news, battle lines are drawn on the health care fight here in Washington as Republicans move ahead with their next effort to try to end Obamacare. One of the co-sponsors is Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy, who's now being called out by late-night comedian Jimmy Kimmel. Listen to this.
This guy, Bill Cassidy, just lied right to my face. Do you believe that every American, regardless of income, should be able to get regular checkups, maternity care, et cetera, all of those things that people who have health care get and need?
Yep.
So yep is Washington for nope, I guess. This is a bad bill, but don't take my word for it. Here are just some of the organizations that oppose this Graham Cassidy bill. The American Cancer Society, the American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, American Lung Association, the Arthritis Foundation, Cystic Fibrosis, the ALS Association, the March of Dimes, Multiple Sclerosis Society, Children's Hospital of LA. Basically, any group you've ever given money to thinks this is a bad idea. Do you trust them, or do you trust...
You heard Jimmy Kimmel, and this morning our Chris Cuomo asked Senator Cassidy about Jimmy Kimmel's criticism. Here's his response.
I'm sorry he does not understand. Under Graham Cassidy, Heller Johnson, more people will have coverage, and we protect those with pre-existing conditions. Our bill gives the governor responsibility, which she or he may not want, but that's the best way to get people covered.
At the same time, there's this from the President of the United States. He's going after Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul, who is on the record against the new effort by Senate Republicans to repeal Obamacare. So today, President Trump went on the record against Senator Paul, tweeting this: Rand Paul is a friend of mine, but he is such a negative force when it comes to fixing health care. Graham Cassidy bill is great, ends Obamacare. Senator Rand Paul is joining us now live from Capitol Hill. So let me get your response, Senator, to what the criticism you're receiving from the president.
Well, you know, actually, I still think I'm a very positive force and actually positively working with the president on different ideas. The idea that I've been working with the president for about 6 months on is much better than Graham Cassidy, and that would be allowing people to buy across state lines insurance through a group. So if you're a carpenter or a plumber, you get to join a big association, and through that association get cheaper insurance and also get some of the protections that people want from their insurance. And I continue to work with the president on that. I'm just not with him on Graham Cassidy because Graham Cassidy actually keeps most of the Obamacare spending, and it just sort of reshuffles it. So instead of Obamacare funding going to California, it gets reshuffled to Republican states. And so I see it really more as sort of, petty partisanship. Hey, let's reshuffle the deck and give the money to the Republican states, but let's keep the Obamacare spending. My concern is the debt. We have a $700 billion debt. How are we going to pay for all this?
But as you know, there's a deadline, September 30th. After September 30th, under the complex rules of the U.S. Senate, you can't just get anything passed with 50 votes. You need 60 votes. In other words, you'll need Democrats. There's a 52-48 Republican majority in the U.S. Senate. And on some of the other specific legislation that you want, like being able to buy health insurance across state lines, you definitely need 60 votes for that. Is it realistic at all to think you're going to be able to achieve what you're calling for?
Well, the interesting thing is we've been working with the Trump administration on this for 6 months now. We think they can do it through presidential interpretation of existing law. So there was a law passed in the 1970s that allows groups to form across state lines. Many corporations already do this. This is the one area of the insurance market where premiums have been relatively flat. We think that the administration is going to, in the next week or two, issue a ruling saying that, guess what? Individuals are going to be able to buy across state lines. We think they can do it without any bill or legislation from Congress. And here's the thing. My proposal that I'm working on, the president with, costs $0. The Cassidy-Graham bill is going to spend $1 trillion. It keeps the Obamacare spending, but just reshuffles who gets it. That, to my mind, is not what I promised the voters. I promised repeal. I didn't promise I would sort of keep most of it and just reshuffle who gets the proceeds.
So what I hear you saying, Senator, is if this legislation doesn't pass, the president will begin using executive orders, executive decisions to change the current Obamacare law. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, not really. It's a little more complicated than that because we don't think it has anything to do with the Obamacare law. The Obamacare law did not prevent people from buying across state lines and forming associations like buying co-ops. It actually is a 1974 law, an ERISA law. So we think that the law has been misinterpreted and could be reinterpreted by the Trump administration to allow many people. Maybe you join a credit union, maybe you join the restaurant association, and that maybe people who work in the fast food industry, a lot of whom don't have something I'm for.
Is there any wiggle room at all in this legislation, in this Graham Cassidy bill? Are there any changes that could potentially make between now and a vote next week that would result in a yay vote from you?
Well, the interesting thing is there are several things in it I would agree to. If they take the things that are good in it, we could keep expansion of the health savings accounts, getting rid of the mandate taxes and penalties, and the Medicaid reform. I'm for all three of those. I'm just not for the spending proposal. I'm not for affirmatively saying, hey, let's keep $1 trillion worth of Obamacare spending. I'm not for the spending, but that's my main objection to the bill. So if they want to make it less about spending and more about repealing, I'm for repeal.
The House Speaker, Paul Ryan, says whatever the Senate passes, the House will pass next week without change and send it to the president for his signature. What's your message to the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan?
The Speaker's been wrong many times before on counting votes. I would have him ask everybody in California, every Republican, there are 14 Republican congressmen, are they happy with the fact that the new formula will take $27 billion from California? Look, there's a lot of Republican congressmen in New York and California. There's about 25 of them. They're in very competitive districts. Are they willing to go home to a competitive district and say, hey, I just voted for a bill that will take billions of dollars from New York and California and give it to North Dakota and Mississippi? You know, that's what this is about. It's a formula fight. It's a food fight over money. So we're going to reshuffle the deck, but it is not a principled repeal of Obamacare.
But you understand by your opposing Graham Cassidy and maybe, you know, let's say two other Republicans also oppose it, Obamacare stays the law of the land. That's what is angering the president right now. In effect, you're supporting Obamacare. Very quickly, your response.
You know, what I would say is that I think voters are pretty smart. The Republicans in my state know that nobody's been louder voice for repealing this. They also know that 7 Republicans who said they would repeal voted for repeal in 2015 and then changed their mind. So when I go home, I don't expect people are going to look at me. They're going to look to the 7 senators who actually weren't from Kentucky, who were Republicans, promised to repeal, voted once to repeal, and then switched their minds. If anybody wants to blame anybody, I think there's a lot of blame to go around there.
Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, thanks so much for joining us. I should point out, like Senator Cassidy, you also are a physician, so you've dealt your whole professional career in these issues involving healthcare. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Wolf.
We're staying on top of the breaking news. The race to find survivors right now after a devastating earthquake that hits Mexico with young children among the victims. CNN's live coverage will continue in just a moment.
Con artists. They'll try anything to get your Medicare card number.
So they can steal your identity.
Commit Medicare fraud. What can you do? Guard your card.
Guard your card, just like your credit card.
Nobody gets my number, unless I know they should have it.
To protect your identity, new Medicare cards without Social Security numbers will be mailed next year.
Visit Medicare.gov/fraud. Stay sharp, people.
When someone truly believes in you, you can achieve great things, like hitting the game-winning home run or graduating first in your class. At Loan Depot, we believe in helping you achieve the American dream of owning a home.
Congratulations.
Loan Depot is the only lender that provides critical illness coverage which you can use to pay your mortgage payments, up to $30,000 in case you're unable to work. It's peace of mind when life gets difficult.
That's impressive.
And if interest rates ever drop, you can refinance with us at any time without paying any lender closing costs. So call, log on, or visit your local neighborhood branch today. There's no cost or obligation to see just how easy it is to get an approval for your home purchase. Put our nationwide team of over 6,000 to work for you. Loan Depot, we believe in you.
Who can turn the world on with a smile? Who can take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile? Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. Each glance and every little movement you show it. You're gonna make it after all.
It takes a long time to get to the top. But with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited warranty, the all-new Volkswagen Tiguan will be there every step of the way.
President Trump says he's made a decision on whether or not to scrap the Iran nuclear deal, but he won't say what his decision is. Meanwhile, Iran's president says it would be a big mistake for the U.S. to pull out of the agreement. He also criticized President Trump's remarks at the United Nations.
It will be a great pity if this agreement were to be destroyed by rogue newcomers to the world of politics. By violating its international commitments, the new U.S. administration only destroys its own credibility and undermines international confidence in negotiating with it. And we are unmoved by threats and intimidation.
Let's bring in our CNN national security commentator, Mike Rogers, former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. So what's your reaction to President Rouhani's comments?
Expected. Iran, right after the nuclear deal, and when they did get a new infusion of cash into Iran, didn't use that money internally. They used it to promote terrorism in places like Yemen, Iraq, Syria, and around the region. And that destabilization factor is why I think it was met with certainly condemnations from Iran of the benefit they've gotten from the deal, but very positive from Saudi Arabia and other Sunni-led nations in the region who were thinking, hey, it's about time. So it was an interesting time for this speech. There were good things and bad things in the speech, I think. But what it did is try to realign our allies in the Middle East, which was really, were chafed under the whole Iran deal, Sunni versus Shia, Iran versus the Arab League partners that we had. And so that realignment, I think, happened a little bit in this speech. It reinforced the United States' position to our Sunni allies in the region. at the same time certainly poked Iran a little bit.
But the other allies like Britain and France that worked with the U.S. in achieving this nuclear deal during the Obama administration, they wanted to go forward, and so far at least twice the president has authorized the Secretary of State to certify Iran is in full compliance with the agreement. They have to do it again by October 15th. Do you think the president is going to scrap it and risk the wrath of the other allies who worked to put this deal together?
Well, I wouldn't scrap it if I were the president of the United States if I didn't have my allies on the Security Council with me. Well, at least that we know of. If he's not doing this without that backroom diplomacy, trying to get some support for a few changes in the agreement, then he's going to make a big mistake. And I think that we'll regret just a out-and-out pullout without our allies on board. And that's a tall order. They have lots of economic benefit coming out of their relationship. Iran, France and other nations, Germany, other nations are dealing with Iran in a pretty significant way economically. So they have different pulls and tugs on why they don't want it to go forward. But they would all agree, I will say, Wolf, they will all agree that Iran is acting irrationally in the neighborhoods. They're creating.
But that's not directly related to the nuclear agreement. And the concern is that if the U.S. pulls out, then the Iranians immediately start with the centrifuges and they resume their entire nuclear program.
It is. The one thing, this is an interesting diplomatic conundrum. If they pull out of the agreement as well, Iran, that means they lose their allies like France and Germany who want the deal to go forward, which means we get right back into the same spot.
Very complicated issue. The president says he's made a decision, won't tell us what it is, but we'll know soon enough, definitely by October 15th.
Thanks, Will.
Mike Rogers, thanks very much for that. Coming up, we'll get back to the breaking news, praying for a miracle. A scramble to find survivors after a major earthquake hits Mexico. Elementary school children among the victims. You're looking at live pictures. Plus, direct hit, Hurricane Maria makes landfall in Puerto Rico as a Category 4 monster storm. A look at the ferocious winds and the rain. Millions of people are taking shelter. We'll go live to the island.
Hold on, Jill's texting me.
You have a message from Jill. Can't wait for tonight. Clapping hands, thumbs up, face with tears of joy, taco, unicorn, smiling pile of poo, winking face with stuck-out tongue.
Well, Jill's excited about dinner tonight. Totally.
The new Buick Encore with Apple CarPlay support for iPhone.
Smiling pile of poo? Maybe she's walking her dog.
Get 17% below MSRP on almost every 2017 Encore model. That's over $5,500 on this Buick Encore.
We needed to hire someone, but it was really tough finding people that had the right experience.
I was spending half my day just reading resumes.
To hire great people, go to ZipRecruiter.com and post to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with one click. Then easily select the best candidates from one list.
I'm seeing a lot more candidates with the right experience.
We have gotten consistently better results from ZipRecruiter than anywhere else.
Over 1 million businesses have already used ZipRecruiter. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/fast.
Everyone wants their portfolio to grow more. That's why the LEAD ETF is designed to invest in high-quality companies with the greatest potential to grow dividends. And dividend growers have historically outperformed the rest of the market. The ticker is LEAD, L-E-A-D. See for yourself at theleadetf.com.
Go to theleadetf.com for a prospectus which includes investment objectives, risks, fees, and expenses. Read and consider it carefully before investing.
J.Jill is a nationally recognized women's apparel brand. We're focused on a wonderful customer base, age 40 to 65. We have 275 stores, and we do close to 40% of our business online, so we can serve her wherever she chooses to shop. The New York Stock Exchange is the ultimate sophisticated business. We're so excited to be connected with the best. J.Jill, now listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Many people with Medicare may be able to get extra benefits and don't even know they're available. You may be able to get dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage included in your plan. The Medicare Coverage Helpline is accepting calls to see if you're eligible to enroll now. You may be able to get extra benefits including dental, vision, and prescription drug coverage.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Buchwald. Making sure you go to the doctor and taking all your medications as prescribed can help protect your health. To make it easier, you may now be able to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that includes coverage for dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Help protect your health by choosing the right plan for you and get all the benefits you deserve.
Call to see if you may be able to get extra benefits, including dental, vision, and prescription coverage. Don't delay. Call to see if you're eligible to enroll and may be able to get extra benefits now. Call 800-779-8200. That's 800-779-8200.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Hi there, I'm Brooke Baldwin. You're watching CNN. Here we've got this frantic search underway right now for survivors from this magnitude 7.1 earthquake in Mexico City. These are live and chilling pictures here as rescues are underway at this crumbling school inside children missing since the quake hit. With
and they are being as delicate as possible in trying to extract her without doing any more damage. I have to say it is an amazing exercise in snap organization here to see not only the number of carpenters and I have
the food here in Mexico City. You're in certain parts of the city, it looks like a completely normal day, and then everything changes. On one block, you'll just a giant crowd of people and a pancaked building, and the same scene is playing out where they are going hand by hand, brick by brick, a handful of dirt by handful of dirt, trying to free somebody who might be stuck under the rubble. Brooke?
This is just an absolutely extraordinary scene. I see you, your hand up to your mouth. We'll let you go for now, Miguel. I know you're watching, and we want them to find, obviously, we're all rooting for these rescue crews to find this little girl. We're going to stay in close contact with you, and we're going to come back to you when that silent moment is over. Let's move on, though, now to another deadly natural disaster we're closely watching. Hurricane Maria's trek across the Caribbean. This Category 4 storm made landfall this morning along the southeastern side of Puerto Rico. Unrelenting hurricane-force winds at 155 miles per hour, life-threatening storm surge, unforgiving rain. The entire island has no power. Maria is the strongest hurricane to hit the island in 89 years. Its size spans the distance between Washington, D.C. and Chicago. Think about that for a second. We've got a satellite image for you from NASA. This is Maria's eye, steadily moving across Puerto Rico, and winds are slightly weakening, but forecasters want to make very clear this remains a deadly storm. In fact, Maria is so fierce it broke not just one but two National Weather Service radars on the island. In addition to Puerto Rico here, at least 7 people were killed in Dominica. I want you to listen. When the storm first made landfall, witnesses likened it to just almost like people screaming. And our correspondent there, Leila Santiago, this is what was happening when she was waiting to do a live shot in San Juan, being blown away. Had to get help to come back. Leila's with me now in Puerto Rico. And so, Leila, it was a frightening moment earlier for you and your crew. How's it looking right now? What's the situation beyond the no power problem?
Right, that's coming straight from the government as saying right now there is 100% of power outage. And you know, you mentioned that the storms are weak, or the winds rather are weakening. That doesn't mean that there are still not strong wind gusts coming in that I'm still feeling at this hour. So let's walk you through what's around me right now, because we are very strategically located near a building so we can seek shelter if need be. This is the Starbucks. Things calmed down quite a bit, so you saw a few people come out, and now you can see they are under the awning there for when the winds come in and the rain picks up. But take note of those buildings. Starbucks coffee, just coffee right now, because the Starbucks part of the sign came down. This is Hard Rock Cafe. You can see the sign is down. The roof has just been flapping all morning long. And then we're going to take you to this apartment complex where, despite attempts, Brooke, I mean, you can see where these residents tried to board board up, put metal roofing on doors and windows and boards, and it did not hold. When trying to fight Hurricane Maria's winds and rain. Now, the worst of it, I'm told, has already passed by, but now comes the rain. Already, I have spoken to police officers who have gone out to sort of survey the damage of where we are, which is San Juan, and I'll be a little more specific for those who know this area, the Condado area, and they are telling me that they are already seeing flooding here, that a lot of the roads are blocked, and let me kind of show you why that is. There is a lot of debris out on the roads. This is just in front of our hotel room, and you can see the debris that has sort of accumulated here. And I'll keep it in perspective, Brooke. This is not a lot compared to what they're seeing out there. I took one walk around this block, and I could see trees down, metal wrapped poles that's coming from the metal roofing that has come off of buildings. So, you know, things are starting to calm down, relatively speaking, but we're still not in the clear. And as you mentioned, the power, very much a situation. We are on generator where we are, but the governor's office has already told